Hi, everybody. Just waiting for everybody to get logged on. I know we're still a little early. Does anybody have a question for me while we're waiting for people to get on for today? Let me know. Feel free to unmute yourself to ask me. Hi, everybody. I know I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Sorry about yesterday. I had to reschedule. I was supposed to be on an airplane. Didn't happen. Don't ask. So we're just going to continue to move forward. And again, still, you guys, I'm just letting people in, get everybody in here, and we'll get started. We've heard a lot of things going on. CDC has now extended the eviction moratorium to October the 3rd. It's going to get worse before it gets better, you guys. I don't know why the tenants in New York are freaking out. And I'm just saying their evictions don't work like ours do. They don't go through a long legal process and get their fair day in court. What happens with them is they call the cops can kick them out, and they get a summons to come to court later to testify as to how they left the property. Not everybody's judicial system works the same way as our state does. So when you see the cops marching down the streets in New York and throwing people out of their apartments, that's how the law works there. It's because of that we're seeing pushback and extensions, I have no doubt. And that makes it a little bit more frustrating for us, obviously. What this is going to do to us as a whole, I couldn't tell you, but I can't imagine that the glue that's going to hold this country together is going to happen by allowing tenants to stay rent-free in our properties. I mean, how long can we hold on? Our pockets are only so deep, right? So we'll see what evolves and what unfolds because of this. If you have a tenant that owes you money, please, I beg you, go apply for the government funds. If you have not applied for the government funds, you will not be able to evict going forward. You can't even serve a 3-day notice unless you can provide proof that you've applied for the government funds. So, and that happens October 2nd. So make sure that you've applied for the government funds. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait 20 days before you start eviction in the month of October. If you go to apply for the government funds and it says HDIC LA is out of money, or some screen comes up saying why you can't move, they're out of funds, screenshot that. You're going to need that to help protect you in the future and going forward. As far as LA County, they're extremely, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that statement. As far as LA City, they are extremely restrictive. No cash for keys agreements within the city of Los Angeles. Ouch. You guys are forced to deal with the judicial system. Ouch. And the reason I say ouch is we the people, okay? We've lost our right to a speedy trial. Whether or not it's fair is yet to be determined, but we have definitely lost our rights to a speedy trial. What we're seeing currently in LA County, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. In the state of California, 98% of all cases coming through eviction court are being contested. 98% throughout the state. Everything is being litigated. Everything. I will tell you right now, across the board, we're seeing judgments for possession only. Okay, we're not seeing money judgments awarded in eviction court right now. Your time to do that isn't until November 1st. So if you're already in the system, hang on, buckle up, it's going to be a ride. If you're not in the system and you're looking at leaning towards that system, I personally would have you revisit cash for keys and look at it this way. There's nowhere for them to go. Let's face it, there's nowhere for us to go if we wanted to move right now. Let's be realistic. So with that being said, you're going to have to give them enough money that they're going to want to go. Okay. In other words, if you're offering them $500, think about it this way. Would you move for $500? Because I'd slam the door in your face. Just saying. Okay. Let's think logically here. If we're asking somebody to pick up their life and move out of our property, we need to be generous, not greedy. Not now. This isn't the time. For those of us in LA and looking at trial by jury, because let's face it, that's what they're doing. They're setting jury trials currently for July of 2022. Ouch. Ouch. So when you're looking at how much money you should be offering your tenant to get out, here's what I want you to remember, okay? When you're calculating up what you think it's going to cost you to go through an eviction, because let's face it, that's what we're trying to avoid, okay? So when you add in a minimum of 12 months of rent, remember, it isn't until they actually ask for trial that the case will be booked a year out from there. Okay. You still have the time that it got to that point in the front end. So you're looking at maybe 6 months, 16 months. So my question to you becomes, how much is 1 year of your rent? Think about that just for a second, because that's how much you're going to lose on top of your legal expenses for that time period. Court filing fees, attorney appearance fees, yada, yada, yada. Stop offering $500. If you wouldn't move for $500, don't think that they would. Okay, there's nowhere for them to go. You have to remember this. If you want to be successful in a cash for keys negotiation, you have to bite your tongue, swallow your pride, okay? And know that if you go through the legal system, the chances of you just getting a judgment for possession is very high. You're going to have to sue in small claims for the funds that are owed to you. Okay, keep that in mind. So if you're looking at a year of potential litigation, if not longer, and let's face it, we're probably looking at longer. 98% of all cases are being contested. 98%. Ouch. Okay. So if we're looking at least a year of litigation, or I'm sorry, at least a year to get to trial on a minimum, okay, not to mention the 6 months it took for them to tell us they wanted a trial in the first place, we're looking at 12 months worth of rent. What is that for you? How much money are you going to lose for that 12 months? Okay, think about this when you're trying to offer the cash for keys. Think about also, how much money are you going to be spending to your legal counsel? Okay. So if you're in a litigation and you're looking at a year, I'm going to guess that you're going to be spending anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 just in legal. Let's face it. I see Richard Odstrom nodding his head. Hello. He's like, I agree with you, Widget. I see what's happening. I've been through this ride before. I recognize the signs. So with all of that being said, when you guys are going to make a cash for keys offer, stop offering $500, $750. That won't pay for the moving van, let alone wherever you expect them to go. If you're not offering at least 6 months rent, you're doing it wrong. Okay. And that's just me talking to you. Okay. Think about it this. If I came knocking on your door right now, and told you I need this house in 30 days, and in 30 days, I will give you $15,000 if you're gone in 30 days. Would you be gone in 30 days? Richard shakes his head no. I'm going to shake my head no too. Okay. But look at your tenant for $15,000. Do you think they might be gone in 30 days? Most likely. And if they're going to take 60 days instead of 30 days, then I'd lower the amount. So if you're out in 30 days, I'll give you $15,000. If you're out in 60 days, I'll give you $7,000. Ooh, that hurt, huh? Ooh. It's encouraged them to get out quicker. And if you're dealing with a cash for keys agreement, you guys, here's a question I have, okay? It is a trade. When they tell you, I need the money to put a deposit somewhere else, just know you're giving away that money, okay? You're giving it away. It is a trade. When they are standing at the doorway, handing you the keys, and that unit is vacant and broom swept, you are trading them the money then. That's it. You're done. Okay. It's not, oh, I need half of it now so I can get it. No, it's not how it works. Okay. So I see a couple of questions. Actually, I saw a few come through. So let me see what's going on. How long do I think evictions will take when the eviction ban ends? Hold on a second. The eviction ban is very specific of what it bans. It doesn't ban everybody, okay? And if you're in the legal process right now, don't let it scare you because you can still get that, only they won't schedule the lockout until after October 3rd. See how that worked? Okay, so don't panic if you're already in legal or you think you're going to be in legal, yada, yada. My thing is, why sign up for that if you know what the outcome is? If 98% of all cases are being contested, you know you're going to trial. Whether or not that's going to be by jury depends mostly on your area. Let's face it, we don't see a whole lot of trials by jury in the city of Barstow. Are they there? Yes, but we don't see them. We see those in more heavily litigated areas, San Diego, LA. Make sense? Okay, so if you're in a heavily litigated area, you should know what you're up against. It doesn't look good, folks. Okay. Cash for keys, most likely, definitely a better offer. Just saying, I would definitely try that route before going anywhere. If you're in the city of Los Angeles, they have a moratorium. You cannot do cash for keys in the city of LA. You are forced to participate in the legal process. How long do I think evictions will take once the eviction ban ends? Over 12 months. The average right now is between 9 and 12 months. And if you go to jury, you're looking at 16 months or longer. And that's right now. Let me just say this, okay? At some point or another, the real estate market is going to shift. Like the word shift. We've been building up this bubble and building up this bubble. And let's face it, folks, rents can't keep going up the way they are, and neither can the price of housing. Okay. It just can't keep happening. It's not a real number. It's being driven by supply and demand, simply said. Is it going to stay that way? So if you're trying to sell high. You've heard it your whole life. It's not news to you, right? Buy low. So if you're looking to sell and get out of the game, or to sell and hold on to the profit, now would be a good time to do that. Just saying. Statistically, when we see this happen, and I'll go back to 2006, 2007, so that I have your attention, we saw the same signs and symptoms then that we see now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, ask your lender, ask your appraiser, ask your mortgage broker, ask people you know in the industry what they think. Just ask their opinion. You're not asking for legal advice. It's just their best professional opinion. We all see the signs. We know it's coming. We just don't know when. Okay. When that happens, our courts are then going to be inundated because foreclosures are heard in the same courtroom as evictions. And once the foreclosure happens, then the foreclosure eviction is going to happen on top of that. So for those of us that are in the legal process, we're going to see a slowdown once the real estate market crashes and tanks, because they utilize the same courtroom we do. Real estate agents and brokers statistically use cash for keys contracts whenever possible. They utilize that in the last market, or I don't want to call it a crash because people tell me, Patty, don't call it a crash. I don't know what you call it. The ceiling's going to fall. Okay. It's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And let's face it, it's not just the real estate economy, you guys. We cannot keep paying $22 for a 2x4. It's just not feasible. Okay. This has to stop at some point. What's going to trigger that? I don't know. An asteroid's going to hit the moon, and it's going to, who knows? Something is going to happen. It is going to make a change, and things are going to happen very, very rapidly. and not in our favor. I'm just saying, so be prepared for that. I'm not trying to scare you that the end of the world's coming. Don't get me there. But please know, for the last 30 years, we've always been about the justice system. And we've always said, oh, we'll just put them in legal. We need to now know that when we're saying, oh, well, we'll just put you in legal, we are signing up for 1 year or longer of no income while we're bleeding money to our legal counsel. Please think about that. Deep breath, okay? If we see what's coming and we see how the cards are most likely going to fall and we brace it for impact with that, that makes us prepared, right? So let's prepare. We can foresee that this is going to go bad. Now they're adding evictions. I mean, to our homeowners that haven't gotten any money since the pandemic happened, my biggest fear is that I'm going to lose my investments because of what the government is doing. And don't think that I'm anti-government when I say that. I'm just saying, land of the free, home of the brave. I never thought that they would come into my house, go into my safe, grab my written rental contract, and change when my rent was due. Okay. That was eye-opening for me. Never have I ever seen anything like that in my lifetime that I'm aware of. Okay. Could have happened and I could have been a wee tot. But man, I had no idea that they had so much control over us. I really had no idea. And talk about the woke generation. I'm awoken because now I see through that, past that into the next barrier. Okay. I had no idea the government had so much power. Okay. Evictions are going to take quite some time. LA County, depends on what you're evicting for. City of LA has 1 year additional protections. County of Los Angeles has 6 months of additional protections. And so does the County of San Diego. So let's face it, folks, if you're not in the city of LA and you're in the County of LA or the County of San Diego, you're probably looking at the safe spade as being April Fool's Day. Okay. Of next year. I know. My tenant is paying $1,000 for an apartment with a market rate of $1,800, and I'm losing a lot monthly. He's being really nice because he knows he has nowhere to go. I'm sure he'll agree to a rent increase. Should I do a rent increase notice to a new month-to-month agreement? Don't increase the rent at all right now. and don't shoot the messenger. Just hear me out, okay? Please, I beg you. For 6 months, our courts were closed. Therefore, our legal counsel wasn't making any money. Okay? Deep breath, you guys. Now our courts open and our legal counsel needs to make money. Everything's being litigated because there is no case law when it comes to COVID. Make sense? Everything is being litigated. Everything. We want to avoid that. Litigation is where attorneys make their most money. How do I know that? I worked at a law firm for 5 years before I started this. Remember? Litigation is where they make their money. Not in the court filing, not taking your eviction, in the battle. That's where they profit. And I'm not shooting them down. God knows I need attorneys too. Okay, we all need them. But we don't want to get in the middle of a legal battle. We do not want to end up in a case law case. That could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. No joke. Okay. It's going to get worse before it gets better. It can't keep going the direction it's going. And we know that everything in this world, especially in California, is not all sunshine and rainbows. So a giant rainbow is not going to fix this. I don't know what it's going to, I'm sorry, my camera is shaking. I have a new puppy in the house and she is at my feet and hitting the tripod. I apologize, but she's being quiet, so I don't want to bug her. I'm not having an earthquake, I promise. It's the puppy. Let me see what other questions we have going on. I have a non-legal guest house in Sherman Oaks, and I would like to build it into a legal EDU. Is the tenant will go out without problems? Will the tenant go out without problem? If you want to build an ADU, I'll tell you this. contact code enforcement. Find out what you have to do to have a certificate of occupancy there. Because if you don't have a certificate of occupancy, that's where you get into big, big trouble. What do I mean by that? I was in a courtroom one day, not for my case, not anything, and overhearing somebody else's case in front of me. Yes, I do like to do that. It lets me know what's happening in the world. This particular person had a non-permitted addition to the property that had no certificate of occupancy. Because it didn't have a certificate of occupancy, the landlord was ordered by the court to refund all of the rent the tenant ever paid. Ouch. They lived there for years. Ouch. Okay. So when you're dealing with ADUs, my biggest thing is make sure you have a certificate of occupancy. I learned that from being in a courtroom. Nothing to do with me, just what the judge awarded while I was sitting there. I've learned a lot by doing that, you guys, just so you know. Hang on, let me see what the next question was. Okay, don't increase the rent, okay? And I'll tell you why. If you increase the rent during the COVID pandemic, all the tenant has to say is that they were affected by the pandemic. We were all affected. Affected is a very broad term that could be easily argued by either legal counsel. Now the puppy wants to go outside, so we're going for a walk, folks. Sorry. Let's let her out. Okay, go, go. Go, darling. Go. Go. Now you're out there. Sorry. She's a little one with a little ladder. Okay, so to get myself back on track here very quickly, now she wants back in. It's too hot. Come on. Come on, darling. She's funny. Sorry, I feel so bad. And now she's chewing on everything, of course. Lucky me. Let's see if I can't get her to stop. Here, get your squeaky. Go play with that. The fighting with the puppy. Sorry, you guys. Sorry, life is happening to me right now. I know it's unprofessional. I'm working from home. What can I say? All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh my goodness. Okay, don't increase the rent. Here's my thing. If you have a tenant that has been paying the rent the entire time, and I have a friend that has this problem, so pay attention. She's been severely affected by COVID. Her husband lost his job. He ended up in the hospital. She knows that she needs to keep a roof over her head and her children's head. So her rent has always been paid. It's her other bills she didn't pay on time. Her landlord increased her rent because she was never affected by the pandemic. He also didn't ever notify her of what her rights were regarding the COVID pandemic. Guess what? Could that possibly be considered retaliatory? According to Senate Bill 91, absolutely. Those fines are atrocious, folks. They could fine you $2,500 per occurrence. That means you could get a fine of $2,500 for every month you increase the rent. Ouch. Don't do it. You guys want the puppy? No, you don't. I think I want to rename her Satan. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. She is a 12-week-old German short-haired pointer. And she's a handful. She loves shoes. It's a problem. And she's going to be squeaking on her toy over there. So again, I apologize. Okay, deep breath, deep breath. Let me see. If I have a non-legal guest house in Sherman Oaks, okay, we talked about that. You want to get a certificate of occupancy. Do not increase the rent. Even when he agrees of the rent increase, he's scared of being evicted. I know the moratorium's ending. He also got rid of his lawyer because of the cost. Okay, I'm going to stop this just for a minute and I'm going to educate y'all on something. Here's what you don't know. FOSTA, the Eviction Defense Network, all of those are nonprofit agencies, okay? And your tenant can walk in there and say, will you take my case? And they may charge them right there $200 to $400 just to start the case, okay? Those are filing fees. Puppy, stop. You're squeaking too loud in my webinar. Stop. I'm sorry. Okay, so with that being said, let me see if I can't freak her out with Yoda since she found the squeak. Oh, now we got her distracted. Squirrel, I'm sorry. Let me go back and look and see and get myself back on track. Damn puppy. If you raise the rent during the protected period, you could have to refund it later. Is that worth it? If you get fined for retaliation, is that worth it? At $2,500 a month? Ouch. It's too risky. We don't want to be in litigation. I understand that you currently have a tenant that's paying $800 under market value, but what was market value in 2008? What was market value in 2009? Because we're headed right back there. Don't be in a hurry to set somebody in there at that super high price and lock them in for a year. Because I'm going to tell you right now, when it all comes crashing down, to keep them there, you're going to have to lower your rent by hundreds of dollars just to keep them there. And remember, it's always cheaper to keep them. Not just in divorce, okay? If they move out of your property because they rented an apartment down the street that was $1,000 less a month, guess what? You now have to paint, put in new carpet. You're spending money that you shouldn't be spending. So we want to be very careful with those rent increases, because I'm telling you guys, it's only a matter of time before we see the ceiling shatter and it start to crumble. Just because you have them locked in a lease, if they go there, they're gone. You know, think ahead, okay? This is what we're looking at. We anticipate it. Anybody that's been in the real estate game for some time can tell you statistically the market crashes every 10 to 15 years. It's a proven fact. We're there, folks. We're there, okay? Supply and demand. I mean, when you start looking back, this is almost the perfect picture of what happened in 2008, okay? In 2007 when the market crashed. So we need to be mindful of that. We need to be aware of that. We need to look down the road outside of the box and see what's coming at us. And if we have foreclosure evictions hitting our courtrooms, they're going to slow down even more than they're already slowed down. Banks have really big pockets and they will be issuing cash for keys in amounts I couldn't even begin to fathom. Okay. In 2008 and 9, when they were doing cash for keys agreements and in the high desert in Victorville, they were offering people $5,000. I think now that's not even going to touch the surface. How many tenants know that they can get a year in the property just by putting it in litigation? I mean, come on, they did a study, and out of all the tenants that were delinquent in their rent, they determined that 49% of them were just manipulating the system. 49%, that's half. Ouch. What does that tell us? That when somebody's standing there ready to apply and we're ready to approve them, we're still got a 50-50 shot, whether they're going to exercise their rights or not. It's a 50-50 shot when they're standing in front of you. So when you pick the wrong direction, don't beat yourself up over it. React to it appropriately and move on. Okay. Sometimes we get a couple of those in a row. We need to change our practices, change our habits. Okay. So that we're not putting a new problem into our property again, because that happens a little too easy. We get into old habits and we're right back in the same situation that we were in before. So we want to make sure we're using proper screening techniques, doing the best that we can. And then when you still aren't sure, you got a reason to not be sure. It's a 50-50 shot once you've done all your work. Okay. You never know. You never know. Let me see what other kinds of questions we have. Sorry, you guys. You guys want to see the puppy? Well, right now she's quiet. When she gets mad again, or boisterous again, I'll bring her out here. You're talking about rent after COVID. If you did not notify, if you didn't apply for the government money, do it yesterday, okay? Because you're going to have to show that you applied for the government funds before you can file your lawsuit, in the event you choose to go the eviction route, okay? And again, I would highly suggest you consider cash for keys. And when you're trying to come up with that number, automatically add 12 months of the rent, because you should be somewhere right about there, because it's going to cost you at least that, if not more. Okay, especially with legal. Oh, she's up and moving. Come on. I want to meet the rent in the middle, 1,300, but you have an apartment, so you have rent control, so you can't do that if you wanted to. Come here. Let's show you off real quick, big girl. Okay, hang on. Let me get my camera going. Here we go. Can you guys see her? She's got her toy. Beatrix, look over here. Say hello. Okay, go be noisy over there. Go. Sorry. She's a handful. And we're back to squeaking. Sorry. Okay. I want the rent in the middle between 1,300 and 1,400. I understand that, but if you increase the rents right now, you're susceptible to a $2,500 fine monthly. Okay. And if you raise it more than rent control allows, because that's 5% plus the CPI, you're talking about 7% on $1,000. You're talking about $70. Okay, and that's the law. So very careful. We served a 3-day to a triplex Tuesday to clean up items being stored in and out of the surrounding common laundry room. On Monday, our assistant will check on the progress. If nothing's been done, can we dispose of the junk under 7? I would do it at least 2 more times and I'd write final notice. It's in Taft, so hold on. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Is this property located in Taft? I just want to make sure it's one of your Taft properties, because I'd do a second notice and I'd put second request and I'd put the date, times, and witnesses that it was re-inspected. So I'd add that to it. And then I would contact legal counsel about starting eviction against them and doing a 3-day quit behind the cures. So 3-day cure, 3-day cure, do identical notice, but at the bottom of this one, you're going to add the dates and times you re-inspected, okay? And you're going to put second request at the top of the notice. And then the third time before you do it, you're going to call your attorney first, and then you're going to serve a 3-day notice to quit. Okay, that would be the proper process and procedure that the court recognizes. And when you do a quit notice, you guys, you got to have everything in there: dates, times, witnesses, accounts, names, everything. Look at it this way. You're telling a judge in a court they can't fix this anymore, so it better be good. Okay? It better be solid. Ow, don't bite me. I'm trying to help you up onto the couch, varmint. She got little sharp teeth too. Okay. If the house is keys, housing is key, pays the past due rent, and the tenant is still in the property, can we still sell the house with the tenant there? But if it's going to be owner occupied, will we be able to evict? If you got the money from housing is key, I believe it says that you cannot terminate the tenancy for 6 months after the protected period. So basically you need to look at it as that's going to give them a 6-month contract, or a lease, if you will, after that period. You could list the property for sale, explain to the buyer that they can't occupy the property for 6 months after the protected period, and give them a credit in the event that the tenant doesn't vacate to help with their legal expenses. You guys catch that? Richard's like, yes, I caught it loud and clear. So what I'm saying is go ahead and write up your offers, but instead of trying to get these people out, because let's face it, you guys, it's impossible or expensive, one or the other. Okay. So with that being said, you'd revert back to your cash for keys, okay? The other option you have is to sell the property and to list in the agreement that the buyer must keep the tenant in place as per the federal moratorium, such and such date. And here's $5,000 at the close of escrow to help you in the event you do need to pursue legal action because they failed to vacate. It is a very easy way right now that we're leaving the tenant in place and still making the sale happen. Wink, wink. You guys all got that? Okay, because we need to get paid and we don't get paid unless escrow closes. Let's face it. Yes, especially expensive. All right, does anybody have anything that they really, really want to talk about? I will tell you in the city of Los Angeles, everything is very restrictive. There's an additional 12 months of tenant protections behind the tenants there in the city of Los Angeles. Before you do anything, you need to talk to your legal counsel. It is extremely challenging. HDICLA is out of money as far as the Housing is Key program goes. So in the event you do need to do an eviction, you want to make sure you have your ducks in a row and you can prove that you've applied for those funds, even if they don't have any funding available. You still want to prove that you attempted to apply. And you'd think that our government would redistribute those funds and give them to the areas that were more heavily needed and take from the areas where they're just not utilizing those resources. So definitely make sure that you know that before you can do an eviction for non-payment of rent for just October's rent in October, you have to have applied for the money, okay? Otherwise, it's going to delay you about 25 days of getting your eviction started. Can an owner occupied, hold on. Can an owner occupied new buyer kick out the 2 remaining tenants in a triplex or the 3 remaining tenants in a fourplex? In essence, 1 unit is vacant in a triplex and 1 is in a fourplex. Then the buyer can move into one of those units. Welcome to the city of LA. They are not gonna let that fly. You're not gonna be able to kick out the person that's lived there the longest and pays the cheapest rent. You gotta kick out the person that just moved in when they're forced to do owner move-in. So they actually look at who's lived there longer when you're doing an owner move-in in the city of LA. So with that being said, if you have a vacant unit in both, the owner gets to move into that vacant. End of conversation. If you're trying to get them out, get out your wallet. It's going to be easier, quicker. And it's going to be expensive. Let's face it. And just so you guys understand, relocation fees in the city of Los Angeles are about $12,000. If you say that you have minor children living in the house with you, or you're over the age of 55, or simply just say that you are disabled, you do not have to prove it in any way, shape, or form. Then you qualify to get the $22,000 in relocation fees in the city of Los Angeles. Thank you very much. Ouch. And please don't forget, you can't just hand them that money. You have to file the application with the city and go through their application process. It's timely. It could take up to a year to get the tenant out. In the event that they don't go when they're supposed to, it's a nightmare. Again, buckle up. And if you have stuff in the city of LA, I'm so sorry. It is extremely challenging. They're always trying to change the rules to benefit tenants. I would describe it similar as the city of New York. Okay. Okay. Did that sum it up for you? You have no rights whatsoever. Okay. City of LA. LA City built in 2003. Okay. A duplex, have a non-paying tenant for non-conforming office in bottom floor. How many 3-day to performer quit to clean up junk items from common walkways before you serve a notice to quit? I'd contact your legal counsel. Last time I checked in the city of LA, it took 4 curables before you could do the quit. If the city if the city violates him, you have more teeth than you know. You want that city violation, because with that city violation, you can evict him. See how that worked? Because if he's causing a nuisance, it's going to get code enforcement involved. Those are the courts people. Those are, I mean, you can talk about them turning on their own people. So if you have a code enforcement letter stating that the tenant's a nuisance, not cleaning up, yada, you're going to get fined. You have a lot more teeth in a courtroom with that. So you want them to come inspect. You want them to see this problem. You want them to write you a letter, okay? Because you can use that against the tenant. And please don't go create unnecessary drama where it's not needed. Okay. I get that it's a financial burden on us to have these people in our homes, and it's causing financial hardship on some of us. But you guys, we can't go out there with the take the door off kind of mentality. Okay. That's the kind of mentality that's going to get you caught up in case law cases, in litigation that you want no part of, where retaliation's involved. They put a lot of that verbiage in these new laws that govern us. So we need to be careful that we're covering our asset and not exposing our liability. Got it? Error on the side of caution. Smile a lot. Use your fogging techniques and go apply for the government bailout. We're paying for it anyway. Just saying, we're paying for this anyway. So go get your money. And I hope that's stuck. If nothing else stuck, I don't want the government. It's not your business the government's in. It's their business they're going to be in. Okay? It's their business. And we're already starting to see denials from the government program for tenants. They're getting denied when they apply for the program. Gee, I wonder why the government would deny them. Oh, and I got a question for that. If you have a denial letter from the federal government because the tenant doesn't qualify for their bailout program, it's not a loan, how are they going to argue that in a court of law? What is their attorney going to say? It was a computer error? I mean, come on, how are they going to argue for that for the tenant? They can't. So if they do apply and they don't qualify, that's golden, okay? Number one, that is golden. If they don't want to apply, you can evict them. Okay, once you apply, you have 20 days to ask them to apply. And on day 21, if they still haven't applied, you can start an eviction for them for failure to participate in the federal bailout program. That is written in the Senate bill. So we have some tools that help us now, but please keep in mind what's looming at us is we've been waiting for this market to crash for some time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I'll be honest with you, I was ready, fingers crossed, hoping that my house would close escrow in August of 2019 before the pandemic hit, because I just knew it was going to crash then. I was sadly mistaken, but I also had a huge amount of exposure at the time. So again, if you're trying to sell, you've heard it your whole life. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. Sell high, buy low. Buying right now is not an option. It's a high market. So turn that part of your brain off. Okay. Hold on to your money, folks. We'll see what happens. It'll definitely get a little interesting. Hopefully they don't forget too much about we, the people. All right, I see one more question come through. Anybody else have questions? RSO August inspection set. What items does the inspector look at in common areas? Common areas, he's going to look at it. It's clear, free of debris, chipping, peeling, paint. Anybody else help pile in here? Your smoke detector, I'm sorry. Any fire extinguishers are current and up to date on your SCEP inspections. They want to make sure that your address numbers on the property are clear. You don't have trees touching your roof line. They're looking for broken outlet covers in the common areas, things like that. Girl, you've been in this industry a long time. Walk your property with your eyes wide open and pretending that you're renting to a herd of 2-year-olds. Okay. That is when you will see everything from a different perspective. Trust me. For the most part, you should be fine. Make sure your numbers are up on the building. That's one I see. Thank you, Val. Yes, water heaters strapped. Mostly on the outside of the booking. Teresa, they should be able to give you a list on their inspection on the city's website. And you can ask them, what are you looking for when you come out? They'll send you a copy of the blank one that they fill out while they're there, just so you know. And then I saw another big long thing. Even though I inherited her, what do? She's a psychopath, druggie, violent, destroyed my property with a hammer, attacked me, etc. Do I get Esquire to evict afterward? Do I get an attorney to evict afterwards? Does she qualify for? She doesn't qualify for any of the bailout programs. She doesn't qualify for any of the bailout programs? Because if she doesn't qualify for any of the bailout programs, call your attorney now. Get her out now. I don't have a list of the city SCEP inspections and what they look for. But again, you could look on their website or contact them. They should give you a blank one. She's been trying to hustle money out of you for years. Okay, get her out. Call your legal counsel. It sounds like party's over. Once they start destroying the property with a hammer, you pretty much have a good hold on them. But again, you're up against the legal process, and that's expensive and timely. So even if you have somebody that's a total jerk, you may want to consider offering them cash for keys, then turning towards the justice system right now. Again, we, the people, have lost our right to a speedy trial. It is not speedy at all. At all. So keep that in mind. You're in this for a long haul. Sounds like an assault. Get them, Val. Get them, Val. Get them. She attacked the property, attacked her. If she attacked you, that is assault. In the very beginning of the pandemic, we had a bunch of owners that were trying to think outside of the building, not outside of the box. And they went down to the courthouses and got orders of protection that forced those tenants to be evicted. And the courts put a real quick hammer down, if you will, on issuing orders of protection. So now it's actually really hard to get an order of protection against somebody because of the pandemic. They don't want landlords using that as a cause for eviction. Makes sense? So getting an order of protection right now is somewhat difficult to do if you're in a landlord-tenant relationship, just so you know. They caught on to us, folks. Okay. Somebody won some, but we didn't all win with that one. LAPD didn't do anything. Hands are tied in law enforcement right now. I know this because I work a lot with the crime-free housing program throughout many communities, and law enforcement has some issues with what they're allowed to arrest for right now because of the COVID pandemic. And they'll tell you when I go to their meetings, for the most part, we're going to issue them a ticket to show up in court later. I get it. Everybody's scared of COVID. I get it. I get it. I get it. And then at the same time, I don't get it. It is what it is. Be careful. Don't increase your rents yet. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's too risky. And if they're going to fine you $2,500, my question is, damn, how much is your rent? Because you're losing all the way around. You don't want to make the situation worse on yourself, right? Don't. Also, please know that if you're in the legal process, you're in litigation, you're along for the ride. It's not going to be fun. It's timely, it's costly, it's lengthy. And for the most part, you're going to end up with a possession-only judgment. You're going to have to sue for money at a later date, at a later time, because they're just not issuing money judgments right now. It's not happening. Okay. So keep that in mind if you're evicting right now and you're in eviction, is they're only going to award you a possession only judgment, and you're going to have to go back to court and battle it out in small claims later anyway. So keep that in mind. Think, okay, how much money do I want to spend to make this person go away? So deep breaths, okay? Val, what are you asking me about late fees? When can we start charging late fees? Our tenants are current, but some are dibbling in rent. Late fees won't be able to happen until October 1st at this point. And that could change. We still haven't heard from the Department of Fair Housing. For the most part, I'm going to tell you the 2nd of October. Why do I say the 2nd of October? Because if your rent's due on the 1st, it's not delinquent until the 2nd. Just saying. So 2nd of October is more than likely when we're going to be able to first charge late fees again. And I am a senior, so no abuse to me. I need to put some smoke detectors in her office, but she won't let me in for SCEP inspection. You've done the 24-hour notice to enter, and she won't let you in to do necessary or agreed upon repairs. Make sure that the inspector is aware and that you have your 24-hour notices to enter to show as proof, and let them talk to her. Because a lot of times they have their ways. Just let them talk to her. You do your job, okay? Line up your ducks so that they're all perfectly square. And then we'll go from there. You can let the inspector know that she fails to allow entry. Because you're in the city of LA, you can't enforce entry right now because of COVID. So again, makes it more challenging. We're losing rights every time the wind blows. But let the inspector know the problem you're having and see what they recommend that you do. Common areas, basement, no smoke detectors. SCEP will fine me during the inspection. She makes fun of me. She's affecting the right to quiet enjoyment if she's making fun of you. Serve her a 3-day covenant notice. Contact your legal counsel first. She disconnected every smoke detector. If she did that, then that's a safety issue. If she continues to do it, it's a hazard. It's a safety hazard for others in the same building. Any idea where in the Senate bill? I can't find the verbiage saying the tenant has to apply within 20. It's in SB 91. Because she smokes every drug there is. Oh God, I'm sorry, honey. If she's disconnecting smoke detectors, she's creating a nuisance and a safety concern for neighboring residents. Ooh, that was a stretch. If she's mocking you or making fun of you, then she's disrupting the right to quiet enjoyment. She can't do that by law. Hold on, keep talking to me, girl. I'll give it to you back to you for days. You got to find where she's in violation of her rental contract. Okay, play by the rules. The rules are your written rental agreement. It says that she can't disrupt the right to quiet enjoyment, which I know she can't. Then you can serve her notice for that. So if anytime there's yelling, fighting, arguing, screaming, whether it's at you or with another tenant, that's something I always lean on, is the right to quiet enjoyment. And make sure you put dates, times, and witnesses on the notice, or it won't fly, especially in LA. I'll hire you to do it. I'm a wimp. But it was great then a year violence. I don't serve notices. I'm sorry. I'd love to help you, but I don't do that anymore. Unless my name's on title, I don't manage it. I only manage it if my name's on title. I'm kind of bound to it by that point. Has to be recent violence within a year. Oh, yes. A police report will do it. So if she creates any more violence or nuisances, start documenting it. Document it. Document it, document it, document it, document it. Build your case. You have to line up your ducks for it to be effective. I am not letting you out again. You didn't go out the first time I let you out, you little brat. Now she's just kind of sitting there whimpering a little bit because she can see her ball out the door. Oh, it's like having a 2-year-old all over again. All right, does anybody have anything else? Come get your squeaky toy. There, get your toy. Leave us alone for 5 more minutes, man. All right, she's on her Kong for a bit. Does anybody have anything else that they want to talk about? Any concerns? And for those of you doing your dispositions of security deposit, remember, you can't charge rent during the COVID pandemic on your disposition. You can't do it, okay? And I know in the beginning I was like, the government, apply for their money. And now I'm all telling everybody, apply for the government money. It's the easiest way I see out of this whole scenario is apply for the government money. We're paying for it anyway, folks. So you might as well get your piece of the pie. And what do I mean by we're paying for it? We pay taxes. So we're paying for it anyway. If somebody owes you money, get your piece of it because it's the only way I see this working. And you want me to explain to you how I see it not working? Watch this. 25% of the rent throughout the pandemic period is due on or before September 30th, right? So September 30th, they can pay you that. Now the balance due can only be sued in small claims court. When is the tenant just going to file bankruptcy? And then you're going to have to evict them because they filed bankruptcy and they're still not paying you. And we all know what it's like to go through a bankruptcy eviction. It sucks. Okay. I mean, let's look past what's being placed in front of us and look at what our options are. They suck. I'm just saying. Our justice system right now is just us. Okay. It's not justice. We lost a speedy trial, hands down. That is gone. It is out the window. Not happening. And to hear that 98% of all cases filed are contested, they're litigated. Of course they are. And your attorney wants you to raise the rent. Do you know why? Because there's no case law, and that means he can go argue your point in front of a judge. Oh, wait. Did that click for all of you yet? That's why your attorney says, yes, you can, because there's no case law yet. So they're taking on everything they can. It's kind of like when the grunion are running. You need to fill up your buckets because they don't run forever. Same concept, okay? Please think about that. Hold on, I see questions. And somebody is trying to call me. Decline. I forgot to turn off my phone. I'm sorry, you guys. People are calling. Is there more notices to serve? So there was a notice. Yep, do your skip increases as normal. Talk to your legal counsel just to verify your skip increases should not be an issue. And the last notice that needed to be served had to be served by July 31st. I tuned in late. Is it possible to review this session somewhere? Just so you guys know, you can rewatch all of my Wednesdays with widgets on our YouTube channel. And you can link that for our paid members through the website. When can we raise rents legally? You can raise rents on commercial property legally right now. You can raise rents on industrial property legally right now. On residential property, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Did you guys hear me? They can fine you up to $2,500 per month that you increased rent during the pandemic period. Ouch. Okay. Here's me talking out loud. If everything goes back to normal as expected on October the 1st, okay? LA County has 6 months of additional protection. San Diego County has 6 months of additional protection. For you guys, you're looking at April Fool's Day as the first time that you could possibly serve a notice of a rent increase the way it sits right now with no additional extensions in place, okay? That's 6 months after the protected period. That's when your moratorium ends for LA County and San Diego County. City of LA is 1 year. So they're looking at October of 2022. Ouch. And that's City of Los Angeles, okay? For the rest of us, we're looking at April Fool's Day as being 6 months after the pandemic period ended and it not be considered retaliatory. So 6 months is a good business practice, is the best business practice after the protected period ends, so that they can't possibly say retaliatory issues. Some of us already have moratoriums from our cities that cause that to happen automatically. So I'm going to tell you the safest place in my little blonde brain for me to increase my rent isn't until April Fool's Day next year. That's when I'm going to serve the notice. April Fools, the government's been messing with me for 2 years. Let's see if by that time we warrant a rent increase, or if we're having to decrease to keep our tenants in possession. We'll see. We just don't know, you guys. The bubble will burst. It cannot keep going this way. It can't. Something will happen and it will cause everything to shift, crash, crumble. You call it whatever you want. I wouldn't serve a notice on October 1st to increase rents. Not me. That's the first day the protected period ends. It's just too risky for me. I want to put a cushion in there of at least 6 months because that's what I've been trained by fair housing. You know, if the tenant calls code enforcement or fair housing, we can't terminate tenancy without cause for 6 months or it's retaliatory. What's a global pandemic going to do? And remember this, I also can't give you legal advice. I'm not an attorney. I can just tell you a safer business practice. And remember, your attorney likes to litigate. That's how they make money. So think about that, okay? I'm telling you how to be safe. That's all I'm telling you. Waiting 6 months is the best business practice. If you don't believe me, call the Department of Fair Housing and ask them. They'll tell you. 6 months is a better business practice. So with that being said, that's why I'm telling you not to increase until April Fool's Day. That's what I'm going to do. It's too risky. I don't want to get sucked into litigation right now because I increased rents too early or too late or charge this or charge that. I don't want to be involved in the just us system currently. Okay. So I am completely erring on the side of caution so that I don't end up there. Your attorney may tell you, you can raise the rent right now. Remember, there's no case law. Just keep that in mind. There's nothing telling them you can't because there's no case law, no case law, no case law, no case law. And everything's being litigated. Everything. Nuisance cases, you name it. Everything. How is it the nation debate regarding CDC dictating eviction moratorium? I see some landlord groups are suing. Yeah, Biden just extended it until October the 3rd. I understand that, but even if you do a new rental agreement on a month-to-month tenancy and you charge more rent, you still increase the rent during the pandemic period for your tenant who could say they were affected. It doesn't help you because it's on a new contract. That's all I'm trying to say. And what I'm trying to do is protect you from something that's going to happen in the future, not right this second. This isn't going to bite you right now. Let's talk about this. If I was a smart tenant, I'd pay that rent increase. I'd wait 2 years and then I'd come after you. Okay? Because if I wait 2 years before I come after you for the increase that you did while I was affected by the pandemic, then you're subject to the retaliatory fines of $2,500 monthly. Try paying that for 2 years. You're welcome. It's not worth the risk. We have an idea of what the law is, but because there's no case law yet, we don't know. So I encourage you to err on the side of caution to protect yourself from frivolous lawsuits and having to spend money that isn't necessary. That's all. Your attorney's going to tell you one thing and it's going to be totally different than from what I'm telling you. Yes, they can give you legal advice. Yes, that's who supports you in a courtroom. All I'm trying to do is ask you to please err on the side of caution. Sometimes it isn't worth the risk. That's all. Do I want to say, yeah, go raise your rents? Mind you, I own investment property too. I'm not raising rents anytime soon. I may readdress it come April, but I'm trying to stay out of litigation. It's costly and expensive. And these attorneys are hungry. They didn't work for 5 months. Ouch. Okay, let's see what else I got. What is the percentage to be increased in April? Notice to go out in February or March. Thank you. Don't know yet. You're asking me what the CPI will be for next year? I have no idea. None. All right. Does anybody have any other questions for me, or we'll go ahead and end this one for today? Something else came through. We took a new tenant away from the manager. We took a tenant away from the manager. I don't understand how that works. Tenant is happy. Do we need to provide a tenant with a new rental agreement? If so, anytime. I'm not sure what your question is, Val. Rephrase it. Try again, or call me later. In April, can I raise the rent to more than the legal limit if the tenant agrees to it? I'm going to be an ass right now. Can I break the law if the cop says it's okay? You're asking me to give you legal advice of how I'm going to protect you in a court of law if the tenant tries to sue you later. I can't do that. You can ask an attorney, what's the risk? I don't want the risk at all. I want to err on the side of caution. I don't want to be involved in litigation. I don't want to give my attorney a dime unless I need to. Thank you. I figured if I said it that way, you might understand what I'm trying to tell you. And you guys, the rock solid bottom truth is nobody knows. Until they have case law, nobody knows. With that being said, I want to stay on the side of caution. I want to do what the cop says. Okay. I don't look good in orange. Just saying. It doesn't match my hair good. I'm not trying, I'm trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be funny. All I'm trying to do is get you to err on the side of caution. When you start thinking outside of the box and thinking you understand these rules and that you can do these things is when you get yourself into trouble, you get involved in a case law case, and then you find out the hard way. I don't want anyone to find out the hard way. I've done it before. It's not fun. It's costly. Don't do it. Okay. Again, this is all above our pay grade, above my pay grade, above your pay grade. The government hasn't even figured it out yet. We have no case law. It's still up in the air. It's too risky for me to do it. So I'm not going to tell you to do it. Does that make sense? If I wouldn't do it, I sure wouldn't expect you to. Val, don't get me started on the border, okay? Don't get me started on the border. Our system's broken. We lost respect for the people that protect us every day. That's a problem. If that's who we call in the event of a crisis or an emergency or an oh, holy crap, why are we being so mean to them in their time of need? Because we sure aren't mean to them when we need them. Our system is broken. Our nation is broken. It's become so convoluted with this eye-poking and mouth-moving garbage that's going on They literally forgot about we, the people, and we are the ones that are suffering the repercussions of that. So what can we do? We can prepare. We can buckle up. We can brace for impact. We can see all the different things that can, might, could happen to us. And we can prepare for them. That's all we can do. Is buckle up, brace for impact. I don't know what's going to happen going forward. My crystal ball's still broken. But I don't want you to do anything that's going to cause you to end up in litigation a year from now or 2 years from now. That's going to be very costly then. And for what? $70? Is it worth it? Is it worth it for $70? I'm just saying. Val, this is not a website to ask for ammunition, okay? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't get me going, you guys. Yes, I support the Second Amendment. What other things can BOSTA tenant protections do against us, even if a tenant has a phony cause? Here's the bullshit thing about BOSTA nobody knows. And if they do know about it, they sure don't talk about it. When your tenant walks in and says, "Can you help me? My landlord's a jerk," they may charge them anywhere from $200 to $500 to start the case. That's the court filing fees. They're nonprofit. They have no out-of-pocket expense because the tenant just gave them what it's going to cost to file the case with the courthouse. You with me? Now they see them all the way through their whole event. And when they signed that retainer agreement, it also said that BOSTA was going to get 1/3 of any monies awarded to the tenant in a settlement. Wait, what did Patty just say? Patty just said, if you pay your tenant $100,000 to settle in court, BOSTA is going to get $33,333.33. Your tenant gets the remainder. Welcome to America. Those nonprofit agencies are taking 1/3 of the tenant's money. That is why they're relentless. That is why they're ruthless. That is why they're extortionists. They have their finger in the pie. They're getting paid. By you? And in the event the tenant tries to come out of that and settle, in that contract they signed, in that retainer agreement they signed, they would be responsible to then pay BOSTA back for their legal expenses. I'm going to guess they'd be about $33,333.33. When you're up against BOSTA, settle. Don't be the first to settle, because I'll tell you right now, in LA County, BOSTA is offering to settle out of court for $150,000. That's their first offer. Why? Because they know that it's going to be tied up in litigation for God knows how long. They're still not even doing jury trials because of COVID in LA. BOSTA, B-A-S-T-A. It means stop in Spanish, or enough in Spanish. It's one of the tenant advocate groups. The Eviction Defense Network is the other one that are the big major ones. But there's hundreds of them out there that are nonprofits that represent tenants free of charge, and then take 1/3 of whatever money you pay them to go away, to make the case go away. Ouch. People ask, oh, how do tenants find out? Well, for a while, BOSTA was getting in the court records and then contacting the tenants or getting the case information that way. And now they basically walk through apartment complexes and put up their cards. Are you being evicted? We could help you. Tired of paying your rent? We can help you with that too. Yeah. I've had many of property managers follow Basta through their building as they litter their building with their flyers and brochures just to follow them and pick them up and throw them away. So tenant advocate groups, they give free legal counsel to tenants in eviction. They're appointed by the government. They're a nonprofit agency. However, they do take a third of any monies awarded to the tenant in a settlement agreement. They don't work for free. Okay, Diana, what are you asking me? What kind of verbiage can we put in our notification letter saying if they don't apply in 20 days, we will? This is what I would put. As per Senate Bill 91. As you may be aware, Senate Bill 91 is trying to encourage all parties to apply for the federal bailout. Don't call it a loan, okay? We have applied for the federal bailout. Our application number is blank. Please note that you have 20 days to apply yourself and provide us with proof of applying for the government program within 20 days. So just write it out that they have to provide you proof that they've applied within the 20 days. Don't threaten or else. That's where the threat comes in. Yep, Teresa, disgusting, isn't it? I don't know if you guys watched a documentary on dolphin safe tuna. Okay. I watched this documentary. I don't know. It's on Netflix. Kind of needs something to do with my time. Maybe it's Discovery Channel. I don't know. But I watched this documentary on how the Earth's resources are being just destroyed. And they did this talk about dolphin safe tuna and how they have it on the label that says dolphin safe. Well, the same person that creates that label also regulates what's dolphin safe or not. And it all resorts back to our government. I have my own personal opinion over what I think is going to happen. Mind you, my crystal ball is broken, but I would say by vaccinating and unvaccinated, they're segregating us. Let that sink for a minute. For those of us that are vaccinated and for those of us that are unvaccinated, I got a feeling there's going to be some segregation going on. And I'll leave my statement at that. What is that? United we stand, but divided we fall. I hope in the very, very near future, we see the light and we get rewarded for our actions because we've been waiting patiently for a long time now. And we can't keep doing this. We can't keep waiting and them not owe the rent yet. It's not fair to us. Hang on, Jay, let me see what you're asking me. Can we increase the rent after a vacancy to a new tenant? Yes, but you need to be careful. Just so you know, California Penal Code 396, subparagraph B talks about price gouging in a state of emergency. Notice I said penal code and not civil code. Yes, you go to jail for this one. You get a fine for this one. So don't raise rents over 10%. It could be considered price gouging during a state of emergency. The governor is not removing the state of emergency anytime soon. He's made that well aware. With that being said, if you're subject to a rent control ordinance on rent destabilization, then you can only raise it whatever your CPI is. As simply as I could say this, if you've done major renovations to the property. I'm choosing my words carefully. And I'm not talking about paint and carpet. I'm talking about new plumbing fixtures, new lighting fixtures, new cabinets, okay? Total remodel. You may be able to bring it all the way up to market value, but you need to talk to your legal counsel about that. It all determines what they're willing to argue for you in a court of law. My theory has always been, if I can show proof that I've done major renovations, then I should be okay to show that I wasn't price gouging. Actually, I remodeled, it cost me a bunch of money, and that's hence the increase. In other words, it would be an argument for an attorney in a court of law. Can we demand that tenants be vaccinated? Show proof, serving notice in person, getting bare chemical, toxic, druggy tenants. If you see person is that service enough, even though the screen doors between us, nail and mail, but never opens it up. Yes, if you can see a person and he touches the notice, that's personal service. If he doesn't touch the notice, it's post and mail. Can you demand tenants be vaccinated? Can the federal government demand that we be vaccinated? Nope. And I'm going to be dead straight honest with you, okay? The vaccination is not approved by the Federal Drug Administration. So our government hasn't even proven the vaccine to be safe. Leave you a little something to sleep with. Have a friend. He lives in Florida. Poor guy. He's fully vaccinated, but he just caught the Delta variant. He's in the hospital. I wish I had more to say than that, but I'm really trying to bite my tongue. That's right. God bless America. We the people, baby. We the people. And we're not going to stand down without a fight. Our system's broken right now. That's all. Come on, you guys. It's just broken. We can fix it. It's not the end of the world. We just need to fix it. It's broken. We need to call a repairman. I have an opinion. I think that we should get rid of all the convoluted bullshit in the laws that are going on, go back to simple basics and clean up the problem. Go back to the basics. Get rid of all this, oh, but not until this date, not until that date. And you have to hold your mouth this way. And if you want to raise the rent in LA, you got to be able to wink one eye while you're lowering your other eyebrow. No, we need to get rid of all the restrictions, reboot, reload, start over from the ground up. The foundation is cracking. All right, I'm going to get off of here. You guys have a great week. If you need me, let me know. Next week, we should be live with Wednesday with Widget. Most definitely. And the puppy, who's now asleep. All right, you guys, have a good week. I'll see you soon. Bye.